Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. There's a story that really caught our attention. A man identified as Fouad Willoughby cried out over the sudden disappearance of his 3-year-old son, Abdul-Muqseet Willoughby, during the Eid festival on Sunday. According to him, he had left the son. He panicked that the residents, they don't know the boy because they came from Ilorin to Lagos to come and be with the grandmother. Unfortunately, the family, the neighborhood didn't really know the boy very well. Said that when they came back, the boy was with his mother, who is a bit not physically fit. So she couldn't really walk around to take care of the child. So the mother was also in the kitchen. He was supervising the killing, the slaughtering of the cow, of the rams. So the boy was playing with his siblings, and then he disappeared. Right. He said he can't go back to Ilorin without He came with 6 children. He can't go back without one. So he's still in Lagos. They posted out on social media. They went to the newspapers, trying to go to TV stations to see what they can do, because this young boy has been missing. They noticed his disappearance 10 a.m. and they've raised the alarm. It was after the prayers on Sunday. They usually go for morning prayers before they now go to slaughter the rams. It was around that time that he observed that the 3-year-old boy was missing. Oh. Really, really, really sad story. Yeah. Oh, really cute little boy.
At that age,
just hope they find, yes, and somebody can just, take
advantage of them. God forbid, though.
As well.
So yeah, the former governor of Anambra State and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party was reacting to calls by some House of Representative members that the presidential jet or the president should change his aeroplane. And he says that's P2B, and he's cautioning against that. He's calling on the federal government to increase the number of, aircraft, not to increase the number of aircraft in the presidential fleet. So writing in his X handle yesterday, he said that at a time when our country is on the front page of global news and also the papers for facing its worst economic crisis marked by high inflation, a falling currency, and widespread poverty, the government is contemplating buying new presidential jets. That this demonstrates extreme insensitivity to the citizens' struggles. With rising insecurity, poverty, hunger, and homelessness, this decision highlights the disconnect that is apparent between the government and the people. It is unacceptable as the situation in the country today, more than ever, demands a more compassionate use of resources, prioritizing citizens' welfare. And then he went ahead to say that it's on record that our presidential jets have an average age of 12 years, purchased when most Nigerians could afford necessities. Now, as our country faces significant challenges, including a high debt profile, our citizens are even greater need. Instead of adding to our luxuries, we should focus on alleviating the suffering of Nigerians. A lot of people have also talked about it, that this is not the time for the president to be considering changing his aeroplane.
Totally agree. Absolutely. Doesn't make any sense. It's one thing. I seriously doubt if the president will go ahead to purchase it. Somebody from the federal government, like I'm Minister of Aviation.
And they are suggesting.
Yes. Yeah. So that's federal government. But I'm hoping, I'll be really, really disappointed if indeed they go ahead to buy this, because the truth is that we can't afford it right now.
It doesn't even make economic sense.
At all. Sometimes you see the cars on the road and thinking, our economy can't sustain this
sort of cars.
All these cars that we all have. And
it's luxury.
Like,
there was a headline in one of the papers, and it was talking about 80 private jet owners, and I was also 80.
Yeah.
The whole 80. There are probably more, but come on.
These are the ones they can even
That's
get.
why they don't take us seriously. When we say we are poor, we are poor.
Those are
We're not poor.
jet owners.
Yeah, do you know how much it is to park a private jet at the airport?
Are they paying it to the government? As long as they are paying their money.
They want to make that.
That's a hot topic. Let's continue.
As long as they are paying.
Vanguard.
We'll make money from that for them.
Nigerians struggle as high drug prices fuel health crisis. Over 2,700 pilgrims suffered heat stroke, exhaustion as weather hit 48 degrees Celsius. LG autonomy will await Supreme Court decision, says Senate. Kidnap families of Lebanese nationals rebuff police intervention. Tension in prisons over rising food inflation. Edo Guba reenact Oshomole's infrastructure revolution, says Agbole. And Rivers youth occupy local government headquarters as chairman tenure expires. Okay, which story are you taking?
Yeah, so I have the major headline. It's a health concern. There's a report now that several people are now forced to take a risk with their health by extending or missing doses or settling for less potent substitutes resorting to self-medication or traditional healers, or some people have even stopped medication entirely. They said for those battling chronic ailments such as diabetes, high blood pressure, or cancer, the affordability crisis is just pushing them so much that they're not able to afford some of their drugs. Now, experts are worried that a significant number of patients who are not taking their medications as prescribed stand to develop complications and incur even more expensive interventions later. So the interview was had, and some of them are complaining about the cost of the drugs. So there's a lady, Ngozi Uchenna, who is a petty trader. He said she's concerned about her 10-year-old daughter's persistent cough. Now, she's not even able to afford the cough syrup that was, given or prescribed by the doctors. She's not able to get that. So she's taking her child back home to probably resort to maybe onion or honey. You know how we concoct some of these things to help us. There was also another person, James Akko. He said he's been coping with sporadic coughs and chest pain. One of the drugs that was prescribed was 120,000 naira. He could not afford it. They prescribed another 155,000 naira. He said, where will he get the money? He carried himself and went home. There was another person as well, Dio, who was diagnosed of prostate cancer. His medicine was supposed to be 1.2 million. He said he doesn't have health insurance. There's nothing he can do. They reduced it for another shot that he's supposed to be taking for 750,000. He said he cannot afford it. He'll just go home and resort to herbs. Now, the fear is some of the herbs that we have are not properly measured. So you may not even know some of the benefits or the risks that you're going to be taking when you take such. Yes, Okay. But our grandparents or great-grandparents sort of survived with some of those medications. I think we need to start looking inwards now to see how some of these herbs.
They didn't eat a lot of fat that we're eating. Their immune system was stronger than ours to fight it.
Drugs are up to 30 million for cancer.
Yeah.
30 million.
Jesus.
I mean,
I even
for 30 million.
Even the regular antibiotics, since the exchange rates were higher, there's some that were regular you could afford.
Yes, I remember.
Also was having
asthma medicine.
Yes. The inhaler.
The inhaler.
Yes.
I used to buy for my daughter 2,000 or 3,000 or something. It went up to 16,000. I shouted.
This tummy ache I had, my husband too was having his own tummy ache, and I wasn't home. My brother-in-law is at home, so he went to go and buy him a drug to help him. These are looking for a moody over there. They bought him one drug, 30K.
Hey.
I said, Uncle, where? For what exactly? It's better that you drink Gary if it's too bad.
It would be the regular one, but prices have just
gone up.
Yeah.
The eye drops, these eye drops, they are this much.
It's not our hot topic, right? Unfortunately, we're all commenting on this because we're experiencing it.
Yeah.
Any other story?
They're experiencing these issues too in prison. So this is from Abuja prisons. They said that the increasing cost of foodstuff and gas has led to grumblings among some inmates in the nation's various prisons. Relatives of some inmates, have confided in this particular reporter, and they said that the cost of food has impacted negatively on their wards. They're saying that they're asking government to liberalize bail conditions for petty crimes so that offenders can meet their bail conditions and attend trial from home. So here they mentioned that of the 200, we have 256 prisons right now, 81,647 inmates as of May 31st, and then over 5,000 of them for federal offenses. We have over 3,000 pretrial detainees and over 2,000 convicts, while those for state offenses are over 75,000, comprising of over 51,000 awaiting trials, so on and so forth. And they talked about in 2021 when there was sort of a public outrage also when the feeding cost for inmates there was 450 naira per inmate. But because of the outcry, it was raised to 750. But they said 750 does not work today. As we all know, we're all complaining about the prices. Right. They said if 750 feeds a child going to school, because that's what government has for children in school, they said a child who is likely to have eaten breakfast from home, goes to school, doesn't spend the whole day, and goes home to eat. Can we imagine how that would work for a full-grown adult that is in the prisons from morning, over and over. Right. And so government needs to look into it, and they are worried why there's a slow response to this request, because this would not, go down well.
So about 3,000 pilgrims were yesterday affected by the heat strokes and exhaustion during their journey to and from the Holy Land. says about 2,700 specifically were actually suffered from extreme heat stroke and exhaustion. Fortunately, I don't know if I should say that, pilgrims from Nigeria and other African countries were least affected.
I
used
to heat.
It was gathered that Saudi Arabia, Saudi hospitals within the area were quite busy attending to patients, while further emergency calls to health officials were overwhelming, as some calls could not get immediate responses. So, for those of us from Africa, were somehow able to manage.
I took it to another newspaper, and you know, to add to it, a Nigerian elderly woman actually died from.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they're trying to find out who would have, because the Saudi people have told them from 11 to 4. Stay in your tents. Don't go and stone
don't go out.
the
Kaaba.
Yeah, don't go and stone them. Just stay in your tents. But someone took her there.
Hi.
And they said her mouth was dry.
Oh, God.
Everything was dry. And when they checked her, she had died.
Oh, really sad. Okay, let's see how much time we have. Let's final paper, the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story. Hoodlums attack Plateau board officials, burn houses and 10 vehicles. Nigeria's inflation ranks highest among African countries in May, says research. Tension in Rivers over control of local government councils as tenure of chairman expires. Okay, let's take one story there. Who has the Plateau story?
I have the Plateau story. So they're reporting that no fewer than 10 vehicles were burnt and other properties worth millions of naira were destroyed on Monday by some hoodlums or some, as you read the report, it says Irish youths or traders. So the state government had issued an order which was to help control building and vehicular traffic in Plateau State. So because they had noticed that there have been indiscriminate buildings just raised, you know, and it's affecting movement and just the way, you know, the state is supposed to look. And so the, what do you call them, Just Metropolitan Development Board, GMDB, was in charge of enforcing this particular order, and the MD went there with, you know, staff to do that. They said the moment the MD left, some youths who were not happy about it, some traders who felt that, you know, it was unfair to them, went berserk, went crazy and started destroying property and burning things down. That's
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, move on to our hot topic of today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.